Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 55 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. And I'm starting to wonder if my 100 days have to be consecutive because I've just really been struggling, especially since I haven't been feeling well. I slept most of today, which was awesome, except that meant I was up all night, which is probably dumb because now I'm going to want to sleep all day and I actually have to work today. Anyway. I'm just crazy. I kind of just put off my writing because I just was enjoying just laying around and not doing anything. Starting to feel a little bit better, thankfully. Still a little kink in my neck, a little pain in my head, but nothing compared to what it's been this whole past weekend. So yay, finally starting to feel better, I hope. I hope I feel even better tomorrow because I really have to go to work regardless of how I feel. And I know I can work regardless of how I feel. I know I can do things regardless of how I feel, but I'm learning I need to stop ignoring how I'm feeling because I think I just make things worse by ignoring them. And I'm very good at ignoring things until they get to the point where I can't ignore them, and then they're like piled up and I feel overwhelmed and everything is beyond whatever it's supposed to be. And it doesn't have to be that complicated or that crazy or that overwhelming. That's just what I do because I avoid the inevitable until it can't be avoided anymore, or the deadline until it's like basically due, and then it's like, which is what I've been doing with my writing and these videos, where it's like, great, I'm ready to go to bed. Oh crap, I haven't written something, I have to write something. So, I've been working on my Christmas presents for my family, for my nephews right now. And obviously, it's taking me way longer than I thought it was going to. Um, not used to doing that much of that type of work, but kind of fun. But in the meantime, while I'm doing it, I've been watching cheesy Christmas movies. I can't seem to find the old classic Christmas movies that I like to normally watch. I don't actually own any of them, so I always just try to watch them, and I don't have any. I don't have any really good ones. I think I have like the Smurfs Christmas, and I have Elf, and that's what I have. A Polar Express, and that's about it in the like Christmas movies. No, I do have one other one that's just some random Christmas movies um, that don't really make sense to me. They were just some cheesy $5 thing that had like four movies in one that were Christmas movies I've never seen before. I got on that video and I'm like, cool, very interesting. Anyway, I ramble. I'm very good at rambling. In case you haven't noticed that from watching my videos. So I've been watching the movies that they have like on the Roku and Hulu, and they're kind of like the cheesy Hallmark movies that are so not realistic to life as far as Christmas goes. They're all the Christmas romance movies. People that are going to just fall in love and have the perfect Christmas, have the perfect relationship, have the perfect whatever it is. Um, and one of them I watched tonight was, I don't remember the names of any of these, I'll be perfectly honest. Um, but one of them I was kind of glad didn't have. Well, the girl went kind of crazy and she was trying to get married before Christmas, and thankfully she didn't. I think I was like, okay, that was probably, to me, that was a good thing that her little crazy weird plan didn't work, because a lot of times they do those movies and it's like, oh, hire some guy to go for the holidays, and all of a sudden you're like, um, you end up falling in love or something, and it always, works out somehow. Spend a few days together and everything works out. So I was thinking about that tonight, and I did a little bit of writing, not typing in my story. I wouldn't even know where to put that as far as my story goes. I don't know if it would go in recognizing God's hand in my life, or if it would just be just random stuff that I was writing. Probably should be writing in my journal some of this stuff, but just handwriting random stuff because it's just random stuff that's popping into my head, and I figure at least it's writing. It's some kind of writing exercise. It's kind of recognizing myself and my situation, and I think in part kind of helping me to separate myself from my stories and be able to let them go a little bit, because tonight I was thinking about it and I realized that I've always seen myself as the wallflower. I've always seen myself as the ugly duckling. I know I'm not really ugly, but growing up I kind of felt like that. Um, and I never felt like I fit in. And I just always thought that if no guy was ever just going to walk up and want me. I wasn't going to be the girl that everybody was fighting over or wanted to date or whatever. And I never did a lot of dating. I was going to be that girl like in the movies where it's like they randomly end up stuck together and then they're like, the shy, quiet one. They don't really notice until, everything falls apart. It's like, where did she go? She disappeared. Oh, yeah, I know her. Oh, I miss her. She's the one that did all this work. The underling. I was always the underling, not the heroine of the story. At least, not in my head. I was the one that the guys were always, kind of ashamed of. It was like, oh, I love you, but I can't tell my family because, you know, they're too prestigious and I'm just not prestigious. So I was just kind of writing about that and then realizing that I've ended up in relationships like that. I was engaged to some guy that was kind of embarrassed and never told people about me or told people about me but never introduced me to people. And then he ended up breaking up with me because he decided it just wasn't working for him. And he never wanted to meet my family. He didn't want to be, he didn't want people to know that we were together like it was some secret or something. And I was like, why is that a secret? I don't understand. And then, of course, I got married to some guy that after a while decided he didn't like the whole public display of affection and he didn't want people to see us like touching or sitting next to each other or doing those things. And obviously that relationship didn't work either. And both of those guys were like telling me that I was too good for them. I deserved better, which in retrospect, yes, I absolutely did deserve better. But I wasn't given the choice, which really was irritating to me that I wasn't given the option. Like, I don't get to decide who to fall in love with. I'm like, okay, if I think you're good enough for me, why isn't that good enough? I don't understand. Or why don't you become better if you think you're not good enough for me? Then live up to me, live up to what you think I, deserve. But they weren't interested in that. But I kind of realized as I was writing tonight that that was kind of an odd fulfillment of my fantasy. Not the first half, not the second half, because the first half of my fantasy is always that they, aren't really interested. But the second half is they realize how wonderful and amazing I am and we get to live happily ever after because they get over whatever insecurities or they finally see past all of my shyness and whatever they realize my good qualities. So the second half hasn't seemed to happen for me, but I realize that I've just been settling for whoever would take me. I didn't think I was really, but I haven't dated a whole lot. I haven't met a whole lot of guys. I don't even know where to go to look for guys. And something about the holiday season, and everyone thinks that you have to be with someone to be happy. And to realize, in doing my 100 days of gratitude and doing all this writing and recognizing God's hand in my life and seeing myself the way that God sees me, I know that I'm okay with who I am. I'm not perfect. I still make mistakes. I still struggle with things. And life isn't perfect. It's never going to be. But I do know that my happiness is based on me. It's not based on whatever relationships that I'm in or on some other man or person. And I can't make some other person my higher power. It doesn't work like that. I can't expect some Prince Charming to come in and rescue me and make my life better. But I can hope that maybe someday I can find some man that sees me as wonderful and amazing to begin with, that is grateful to be with me, not ashamed, that wants to show me off to people. Not necessarily like a, trophy or something, but kind of, maybe. I don't know. But someone that's sincere about it, that's not treating me like I'm an object, but that sincerely, loves me and for who I am and wants to share that with other people to say, look, I got the greatest gal in the world. And I want to be able to look at him and be like, this is the greatest guy in the world, at least for me. And that we're happy and that we can be together. And I've seen so many other couples and relationships that are like that. And some of them I know have had their ups and downs and their struggles, and they've had to, go through periods of time where they're not so sure about the other person, and then they work through things. And I want someone that wants to work through things with me, that wants to, be with me as much as I want to be with him. And I don't know who or he is or where he is or if that exists in my life. I don't, or will exist in my life. I don't know. But I realized that a lot of my fantasies, a lot of my stories are based on my old way of thinking, and um, that's not me anymore. So, and of course, in all of my stories, my characters develop. I develop more confidence and self esteem. I just didn't realize I was going to do it before I wrote those stories. But I think in doing that, it kind of makes it seem like in writing these stories is letting go of the old way of thinking, of letting go of all of those old default settings and realizing that they don't have any value for me in my life anymore, that I don't need that. I don't need to think that way. And that maybe if I stop thinking that way, I'll stop attracting men that think that way. And I might actually find someone that I deserve to be with, that deserves to be with me. And I like that idea a lot better, actually. I like, yeah, the idea of that way better, to have someone that actually, wants to pursue me, that wants to be with me, that's, doesn't want to hide, is not ashamed to let people know they're with me, not a secret, that doesn't like exclude me from activities and other things. Or like, oh, I'm going out with my friends, but oh, you won't like my friends, so you can't come with me. My ex did that. We were married and he had a high school reunion. He's like, I'm just gonna go hang out with some of my old high school people. And it's like, okay. It's like, oh, but you won't like any of them. So he went by himself. And I'm like, really? You don't want to take me to your high school reunion or to meet your friends? Or like, it was like he had his separate little secret life that he couldn't share with me or tell me about. And I don't I didn't do that with him, and I don't want to be with someone again that does that to me because I don't like how that feels. Um, I don't like being left out, but I feel like I've been left out. I feel like I was the wallflower my whole life, and I'm just grateful to know that I don't have to be. And maybe a lot of times I just chose to be because I didn't know I had a different choice, or I didn't know what to say or what to do. I'm still not entirely sure I know what to say or what to do because I never really learned how to do that. So that's kind of the interesting part of discovering or making these changes in my life, is that I'm like, okay, I know what didn't work. I know what I want. I'm just not entirely sure how to do it differently. Like the ideas are there, the concept is there, but the actual application is lacking. And at this point, seeing as how I'm not dating anyone, I can't really figure that out. Um, Feel bad for whatever guy I end up dating because I'm completely clueless when it comes to things like that. But hopefully, all of this work will help a little bit. Hopefully, I will attract someone else that's very patient with me because I need someone that's patient with me because I'm crazy. But at the same time, I'm grateful to realize that I can be happy with me and I don't have to have a man in my life to be happy. And my biological mom used to say it's better to be single and happy than married and miserable, which I think is true. But I think you can be happy in a miserable situation. And I think you can be happy whether you're single or married. Or I think you can be miserable whether you're single or married. So being single doesn't guarantee happiness, and neither does getting married. But getting to know yourself, loving yourself, seeing yourself the way that God sees you, focusing on things that you're grateful for, focusing on the things that are working in your life and the things that you can do, that's what makes you happy. Um, Applying the atonement in your life, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people, that's what makes you happy. Letting go of all the past and the hurt and the pain. I think forgiveness is a huge gift that we have because it allows us to let go of the hurt and the pain and the past injustices, perceived or real or imagined, whatever they are. We can let go of all of those. We can forgive. We can move on with our lives. We don't have to let that weigh us down, to be miserable, to control us. We can move forward. And I'm so grateful to finally be understanding that concept and to know how that works. And not that I do it perfectly in my life, and not that I wake up every day and it's like, oh, I'm happy and I'm raring to go. Um, but I think I have days where I do much better at it than others. And I know that doing that whole gratitude list and doing this writing is helping me to learn more about myself, helping me to let go of those old concepts, those old perceptions that aren't true, that aren't working for me in my life anymore. And I'm grateful that I can see the difference. I'm grateful to know that I deserve something better, that I can hope for something better, um, and that I don't have to accept anything less than that. And I don't have to keep thinking that life is like the movies or fairy tales, or, it may start out a little rough, but we'll work through it. We'll make it work, because it takes two people to make it work. And if the other person doesn't want to make it work, then it's not going to work. And changing myself to make someone else happy doesn't work. I've learned that lesson multiple times, and hopefully I never do that again. Um, that's my MO. That's something else that scares me about the idea of being in a relationship again, is that I will give up who I am to try to make the other person happy. And the funny thing is, the other people never really ask me to give up who I am. It's just something I do because I think that's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm learning I don't have to do that, because then I'm not happy, and then the other person's not happy, and then we don't really get to know each other. I like the idea of the whole unconditional love, where you can just be yourself. And I look forward to the idea of being with someone that I feel comfortable with. I love having friends and family that I can just be myself with. I don't have to make excuses. And I can do that in these videos. I can just be myself, and I don't have to pretend to be something or someone that I'm not. I don't have to I don't have to do any of those things. I don't have to do any of those things. I just get to be who I am. And I'm grateful that I can do that. I know doing these videos makes me feel very vulnerable. But at the same time, I feel like it's something I'm supposed to do, because it helps me to learn and to do things for myself. And I think I kind of feel a little bit safe, because I'm saying this. I'm like, I get to be totally myself. And then I'm like, I'm kind of a little bit lying, which I probably shouldn't be. But this is one of those like awkward moments, but I don't know what to do. I do. It's just Midge Shoemaker is my pen name. It's not my real name. So when I do these videos, it's the name that I'm using for my writing. And so it kind of makes me feel like I have this sense of anonymity, because there are people watching these videos that know who I really am, which is fine. That's just great. But I imagine if this goes out to the rest of the world, to the people that I don't know, then you don't know who I really am either. So, and it's kind of like that theory where the people, what is it in Shakespeare? I don't know that I ever actually watched that one or read that one, but I know there's that Shakespeare, where's the twins, the boy and the girl twins, and the girl dresses up like her brother, but it's only when she's wearing a mask that she realizes that she can be herself. So a lot of times we put on a costume, and we're more ourselves, we're more crazy, we're more outgoing, because we think people don't know who we are. I think that's why people get drunk sometimes, because then it lets them be themselves or more themselves. So I don't know that it actually makes them more themselves. I think they just think that, but I don't know. I've never been drunk before, never plan on getting drunk. Wasn't really planning on sharing that this was my pen name, just like the idea of using it as my real name. I still will probably just continue to introduce myself as Midge Shoemaker and do all of these that way, which is fine. But I don't know. I feel like I need to be honest about that for some reason doing this video. But it's my little safety net, just a little bit, for me to be completely vulnerable about all the things that I'm feeling and learning and sharing. I need my little safety net, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But I think it would be nice to be in a relationship with someone where I don't need that little safety net, where I can just be completely myself, and the other person can be completely himself, and we can be completely happy with each other. And maybe not 100% of the time, because no relationship is perfect. We always do stuff to irritate other people. That's what family does. That's what friends do. But I'm grateful I have family and friends that we can talk stuff out, work things out when things don't work out the way that we want them to. So that's a good thing. And I'm grateful that I can be happy and have people that love me for who I am in my life, which I didn't feel like I had growing up. And I don't have to fantasize about what my future will be. I still do. I'm a writer. It's also what I've been doing my entire life, so that's probably never going to change. Always some idea as to what my future will turn out to be. But I'm learning I have no idea, and that life continues to surprise me. So I can't really completely plan for the future. Just like I keep planning to get my books published or doing something, and that just hasn't happened yet. I keep hoping, I keep working, and maybe one of these days I will get a book published and it will be exciting and amazing. And I keep writing, but I also keep bouncing around with what I'm working on. And in part, this past weekend has just been because I didn't feel good, but I still wanted to do my writing. And then in part, because I just get burned out on one thing and I need to work on something else, and my brain just needs a break. And I think doing some of this other writing, like I was doing tonight, is helping me see that I can let go of those other stories. I don't need to be embarrassed or ashamed of them. It doesn't matter that I based them on who I was, because that's not who I am anymore. And I realize also as I write the stories that it's going to come out differently anyway. It always does. And that it's fictional. It's fictional. It's stuff that I made up. It's not who I really am. And I get to share who I really am in these videos and with the people that I meet, the people that I know in my life, that I love and that love me. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful that I get to discover who I am, that I get to love myself, that I get to see how amazing I am and how talented I am and all the gifts that God has given me. And kind of sad that I've wasted that I've been oblivious to that most of my life. But as I become more aware of who I am, I think it makes me more aware of who other people are, and it makes me want to express my gratitude and love to them the way that they have expressed their love for me. And so, they've given to me, and it makes me want to give back. And at least I'm at a point in my life where I can see what people are giving me, so I have the opportunity to give back to them or to pay it forward and give to someone else. And I look forward to being able to do that or doing more of that. And I hope in some small way I'm doing that in these videos. And I hope that they're helpful to people that are watching. And I realize this is more my emotional growth and gaining confidence in my abilities to write and my talents and things, and not so much lessons on writing. I'm not an expert on writing. I'm still learning what I'm doing, and I'm still trying to figure out how to write my stories and what goes in them and what doesn't. But I'm grateful for the learning process, because it helps me discover more of who I am. It helps me discover what I'm capable of doing, and it helps me to be proud of myself, to be happy, because I do have talents. I am capable of doing things. I'm not a wallflower. I'm not the ugly duckling. I'm not the person that everybody's ashamed to want to be around. I do fit in. I just fit in with different people than what type of people I grew up with. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful I can have extended family and friends, that I can adopt family into my life and be like, because sometimes sometimes family isn't necessarily the people that you're blood related to. They're the people you choose as your family. And sometimes you're closer to them than you are the people you grew up with. And it just depending on your type of family or home life, that's exactly what you need in life, because you need to be surrounded by people that love and support you and will encourage you and in reaching your goals. And I'm grateful I have that. And I'm grateful I'm not giving up on my goals. And as much as I would love to say I just have to do 100 days of writing, it just doesn't have to be consecutive. I keep thinking maybe if it's not consecutive, I could do this, but I'm afraid if I don't make it consecutive, I won't do it. Because I seriously thought about today. I'm like, I'm just going to skip today. I'm like, okay, and wait till the holidays are over, and then what? Start all over at day 1 or start back up at this is day 55? It's been like 2 weeks, but here you go. So I'm glad I didn't do that, because I think it's better if I just continue through regardless of what it is, because it helps me to see that I can persevere, and it doesn't matter what happens or what changes happen in my life, which is another thing. I think anytime I get in relationships, have roommates or something changes in my life, I stop doing the things that I've always done, like reading my scriptures or meditationals or journaling or whatever habits I've been in. And I kind of just give it up to be with the other person. And it's like, no, I need to figure out my schedule around other people and other things and not give up on the things that I love doing. So even though it's crazy, I'm trying to make homemade things for my family for Christmas, and all the stuff that's going on right now or not feeling good, I'm not giving up on the things that are important to me. And writing is important to me. So I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm grateful that I can do that. I'm grateful that I can set this pattern, and not that I do it perfectly. And, but I'm grateful that I can do it. And I think that that's all that I have. So if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, share if you think it'll help someone else. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe some writing.